You've seen it before, right? Someone walks into a room and just commands it. Not just with their words, but with their whole vibe. That's the power of confidence. But here's a secret. It's not some magic you're born with. It's a skill. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how you can learn it, step by step.
Okay, so the first thing we have to get straight is what confidence even is. A lot of people think it's about being the loudest person in the room, but honestly, it's usually the total opposite. Think about this quote: "Confidence is silent, insecurity is loud." Real confidence doesn't need to yell for attention. It comes from this quiet, solid belief in what you're saying. It's calm, it's controlled, and man, is it powerful.
And that brings us to the biggest takeaway of this whole thing. Speaking with confidence, it's a skill, a practical, learnable skill. It's just like learning to play the guitar or getting good at a sport. You just have to break it down into a few key techniques, practice them, and literally anyone can get better at this, I promise.
So how are we going to do it? Well, we're going to build this skill on 3 main pillars. First, we've got to tackle the inner game. That's all about mastering your mindset. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of controlling your delivery, how you actually sound. And finally, we'll talk about how to project a powerful physical presence.
Let's dive right into Pillar 1, mastering your inner game. Because here's the thing, before a single word even comes out of your mouth, the most important work has already happened inside your head. It really does all start with what you believe. Real, unshakable confidence starts with knowing your message, like inside and out. But it's more than just knowing facts and figures. You have to genuinely believe that your perspective has value, that it's worth hearing. And look, this is not about memorizing a script. It's about knowing your key points so well that you can just talk about them, you know? That lets you be flexible and have a real conversation.
And that is what we call authenticity. It's not about winging it. It's that perfect sweet spot right between being prepared and having a natural conversation. When you know your stuff, but you're not locked into a script, your real personality comes through. And that's what builds trust. That's what makes people actually lean in and listen to you.
Okay, moving on to Pillar 2, controlling your vocal delivery. This might be a tough pill to swallow, but sometimes how you say something matters even more than what you say. This is where we get into the actual mechanics of a powerful voice.
Just look at the difference here. It's like night and day. On one side, you've got all the classic signs of a nervous delivery. You're talking way too fast, you're filling every gap with and like. But on the other side, that's power. A nice, measured pace, using pauses on purpose, and a voice that has some life to it. The contrast is huge.
Let's zero in on that pause for a second. You know, most of us are absolutely terrified of silence when we're speaking, so we just fill it with noise. But a deliberate, intentional pause, that's one of the biggest power moves you can make. It gives your audience a second to actually think about what you just said. It adds a little drama. And most importantly, it shows everyone that you are totally and completely in control. All right, let's hit our final pillar, projecting a strong presence. This is all about the nonverbal stuff, all the signals you're sending before you even open your mouth. It's how you communicate confidence without saying a single word.
So confident presence is really built on 3 simple things that all work together. It starts with a strong, open posture, it's backed up by direct eye contact, and the whole thing is held up by steady, controlled breathing, which is what keeps you feeling calm. When these 3 are working in harmony, you just project this undeniable aura of composure.
So here's your super simple, actionable checklist. Before you speak, just roll your shoulders back. Stand or sit up tall. When you're talking, don't stare at the floor. Actually connect with people. Make some eye contact. And if you feel those nerves start to creep in, just take a couple of slow, deep breaths. It's like a physical reset button for your entire nervous system.
Okay, we've covered the mindset, the delivery, and the presence. So now, the big question. How do you actually practice this stuff? How do you take all these ideas and turn them into your new reality? There are a bunch of ways to practice, for sure. But what's the single most effective tool you have right now to make a real noticeable improvement? The answer is actually pretty simple. It's your own voice. The best feedback loop you can possibly create is the one between your mouth and your own ears. It's all about listening to yourself. I know it might feel a little awkward at first. Nobody loves the sound of their own recorded voice, right? But trust me on this, grabbing your phone and just recording yourself talking is the fastest way to get better. When you listen back, you'll instantly hear all those filler words. You'll notice if you're rushing, and you'll actually be able to hear your progress as you start replacing those weaker habits with stronger ones.
So let's bring it all together. Mastering your mindset, controlling your delivery, projecting your presence, all of it, every single bit, comes back to this one core belief. Confidence isn't some fake act you put on. It's the natural result of genuinely believing that your voice, your ideas, and your perspective actually matter.
So please, remember that. Your perspective matters. The only question left is, what are you going to say with it?